like to hide it essentially. But to wait 2.5 minutes to me is giving. I wanted to document or have a documented photo of it being there. You know what I mean? But then it's not even like it's not even documented as a possession, which is a problem.
Yeah.
All right. I think once Pred's off the phone, we probably bring him in. We begin asking questions specific to these situations that may, help us better understand exactly why these decisions are made, even if they have already been asked, and go from there.
Can we keep it like formatted, like question him on each specific instance and then work our way to the
Yes.
Jimbo situation?
Yeah, I
good idea.
believe that is the best thing here.
I did also clarify with him when we had our meeting whether he actually put the gun away after Maeve told him, which he said that he did, and then just pulled it back out.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Yeah, that's not something that we should be doing. That's not something I don't think anybody in this room would do, because we all know it's inherently wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Isn't that right,
yeah.
Carmine?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, totally.
I mean, I'm gonna be real. If someone has a class 2 in their lockbox, or if someone is using my car and I have a class 2 that they are authorized to use, to be very clear, like the type of firearm they're authorized to use, and it came to it, and suddenly they're getting unloaded on by class 2s, am I going to make the biggest fuss that someone used a class 2 that wasn't registered to them? No.
To save their lives?
No, but I mean, this is a little different than that because it was a willful decision. Also, to make this clear, between the time that, if I recall correctly, Jimbo died and this class 2 was used in the prison situation, I'm pretty sure there were casings from Kukulski's NP4 on a scene.
In between,
I personally saw him use a different class 2 between those times.
Yes, exactly. So it's like he knew, in my opinion, damn well that it was not acceptable, which is, I mean, why else would you use the MP5 over the heavy, right? Unless you sat there and questioned, is this okay to do? But yeah, that's the only other thing I have to add. I think we start, as Carmine said at the beginning, regarding the failure to follow direct order, followed by the excessive force, followed by the Jimbo firearm situation.
Okay, I'll bring him in. Kukulski?
Wait, King, why am I so? I've never done this before.
Does anybody have food?
I do. Over here.
I'll throw it on the desk. I'll grab it.
The old briefcase gun strategy, man.
Right there. Oop. That's not...
That's.
Hold on one moment.
From the. Okay. Oh.
You got it.
Yeah.
You caught it. I threw it over.
You threw it to me. Yeah. I caught that.
Nice
shit.
catch. Do you need a drink?
No, I'm good. Thank you. What the?
Sir Kyle Pred in High Command. We'll see you now.
How you doing, Kukulski?
I am doing great, despite what's about to happen, I guess.
We're just asking you some questions. All right, so go ahead, take it. Whoever wants to ask him first.
Give me a second.
Rhodes? I think maybe you should start this.
I will pull up the original situation.
Make sure you speak up in here, Kukulski.
Okay.
So Aaron may have more context. However, I'll probably just ask you to provide a general narrative regarding the situation on. Give me a second. Was this the 30th? This was. Give me a second. You were dapped for failure to follow a direct order on a situation that occurred on the 30th. Do you know which situation we're referencing?
Yes, with the Shimus, I failed to produce a report.
Yes. Can you provide us context behind that situation? And obviously elaborate, on
Mhm.
why things happened the way that they did.
Okay, do you want like the details about the traffic stop, or you want like after why I haven't done the report?
Considering a lot of us were, or most of us weren't present, provide us like as much relevant detail. Like leave out the stuff that has no bearing on the actual situation, but provide us enough. Do what you would do in a bench trial to elaborate on why what you did was, I'm not going to say correct, but
Mhm.
why you felt it appropriate
Well,
or
I
didn't.
failed to produce it. Yes. What happened right after the pursuit with the Shimas? I went off duty, and the following day, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I was getting ready, and I don't remember what happened, but I responded to a call, and my ADHD brain just commonly forgot about it. And there was the next day, and Erwin told me about the complaint, and I need to make the report. I brushed it away, and I basically forgot to do it.
Got it.
Then when I
Okay.
was up, I just immediately wrote it down, and yeah, and shared it immediately with Shimas.
All right. And so just to clarify here, this is a situation where it was your intent to do it. It just skipped your mind. It wasn't like,
Yes.
okay. All right. I mean, this situation to me is relatively straightforward. I don't necessarily know. Well, actually, in this situation,
Mm-hmm.
this was regarding a FOIA, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did we still fall within the 72-hour period at this time, or were we outside of the 72-hour period from the original FOIA request?
We couldn't even put the FOIA request in because there was no report even made about the traffic stop.
Got it. Okay. Had the traffic stop report had been put in, and like the original request came in, Aaron, maybe you would have more. I'm not sure if you'd have more context. Do you know the timing on that?
So the FOIA got requested on the 30th, which is the same day I took Seamus's complaint, and then the report finally got made on the Monday.
Which day of the month?
Would have been the 3rd.
The 3rd. So yeah, we'd be out of. If everything had been done appropriately, we'd have been out of that 72-hour period for sure, right?
Luckily, Seamus was very understanding and is happy that we've dealt with it internally. Obviously, I haven't gone into detail about it, but he's happy that it's just been dealt with internally instead.
31, 2, 3. Yeah, I think the 72-hour period from that point would have put us somewhere on the 2nd. And so if the report was only made on the 3rd, that is problematic. But I mean, again, if Seamus didn't make that much of a fuss, I mean, ultimately still comes down to it not being done properly. But does anyone have any questions specific to this situation?
Negative.
No.
All right. I think that means we move on to the situation from, let me get the date here. The 11th, so 6 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be in reference to the spikes on, I believe, North Rockford.
Yes, that's.
Can you provide us, again, sort of narrative regarding what occurred, your thought process, like run us through that situation from your perspective?
So I was just involved in another pursuit. Then was outside of the Bolingbrook. I returned to the city. As far as I remember, there was backup call because there was only one unit for the car that was being pursued near Tongba. They swapped into a vehicle. It was raining at the time, and they were heading south on North Rockford. I placed spikes by the entrance to the call center, but there is a, like open intersection. I placed on the correct lane going from north to south. My judgment was it was raining, so they gotta slow down. They can't full send it as there is a bend just before that entrance. And yeah, they were going 136 because I was in my car and I looked on the speedometer. They drove over the spikes and they crashed.
Got it. Okay. So just to clarify here, you're saying that the reason for the spikes is because you anticipated that they would slow down?
Due to the conditions, as it was raining.
Got it. Are we talking about like that sort of, if you're heading south on North Rockford, the like left bend that realistically, if you take in opposing lanes, it's sort of straight?
Yes, but they were on that's why I placed in the correct lane. So if they go when the correct, they will have to slow down.
Okay.
More significantly, if I place it on the opposing lane, that would be so bad. That's why I placed on the correct. So, like my anticipation was that they will have to slow it down due to rain. It wasn't a heavy rain; it was raining though.
Got it. Additional question. At any time did you make mention of essentially doing a high speed spike on the basis that Pred has done it in the past?
I've done it as chief mate. It was present also in several calls and pursuits. For those pursuits, he wants no limits for spikes, and as it was made several times, I was under the impression that this is the new procedure that is shifting. It's shifting at the time. It was so based on that. I didn't act of the malicious. Just basically what is right now is of negligence. As a I was under the impression that this is the policy going forward, as in being tested.
Got it. So is that based on assumption, just based on what had been approved in the past on certain calls, or?
Basically, it was being approved on certain calls. It was so often. Often, a couple of times. I'm not gonna exaggerate. It's I thought it was a bit of procedure that we putting in for the test going forward. So yeah.
Got it. Okay. So after the spike had happened, or actually during that call, so I was present during this.
I remember
there was a call for you to repeat which lane that the spikes were in, and there was no response. Do you recall why that had happened?
I said correct. Okay. I believe I said that there was incorrect. I remember whoever was driving the Penumbra from BCSO said it's too fast. I was at the
Ricky
time.
said too fast.
In my car to move away to the opposing lane, and I was basically I started because it was like less than a second to make a decision to either run to it and risk for it, or I don't know, place my car because I already placed it and they were going. So I I had like decisions to make and I made none. So because if I run for those spikes or place my car, I would like drove my car in front of them, or if I were to pick them up, they would run me over.
Got it. So I mean, if that's the logic, is it safe to say that it wasn't a safe area to spike? because I mean, based on SOPs, we're supposed to stick with the spikes, right? I understand you might be in your
Mhm.
vehicle nearby, but ultimately, the expectation is like, should anyone get spiked, those are supposed to be picked up immediately. And so I guess that sort of begs the question, like, hindsight's 2020, but in hindsight,
Mhm.
would you agree or disagree that the spikes were unsafe?
For myself, if I were to stay in the vehicle, outside the vehicle, sorry, no, because there was a tree just like there was a tree in the middle, and past the tree, I placed the spikes. I could hide behind the tree if they were going out. The tree would take
Got
the
it.
damage, but in hindsight, was stupid. You know, I took the dubs for those. It is what it is. I made a mistake. Lives go on.
Does anyone have any additional questions regarding that situation?
No, I don't.
No.
Mm-mm.
King, Carmine, anyone?
Nope, not for me.
Okay. So that brings us to the most recent situation regarding Jimbo's heavy rifle. Can you provide us context? Again, narrative, only mentioning the relevant things regarding why you were in possession of it,
Mhm.
why it wasn't in evidence, and run us through that whole scenario up until it was then discovered that you were in possession of it. It was utilized in a situation. Um, Go ahead and run us through that.
Mm, so this whole thing stemming from the very stressful situation at the same very building that we are standing right now. I was part of the pursuit of those helicopters. I was involved in the shootout at the New Babylon. I just what I'm gonna paint here is basically I was stressed that day. Um, I was just running outside. I wouldn't say like headless chicken. There was like a lot of holes that need to be plugged because everyone was just around one area dying, not really dying, but rushing into the trailer and being gunned down. And I had suspects outside in custody. One of them was down. They had also another suspect that was approaching from the boat. They were neutralized, and I was also part of the last push into the trailer, from which I retrieved Jimbo and Pret. I first tried to administrate first aid to our great chief of the police, but he was already helped by Opal, as I believe. And then I started to attempt to help Jimbo with his wounds. Actually, it was horrible. There was so much blood, and I noticed that his vest was penetrated, and it was bad. I took the helicopter that the suspects have that was provided to suspects, as one of our air ones was the pilot was shot and was grounded. The second was refueling. And due to his critical situation,
Does this matter?
I took that helicopter and I transported him to the CMC. I informed EMS about it. They said it's fine. During the flight, I contacted the hospital and doctors. I tried to apply pressure on his wound. Um, and then, I witnessed the surgery. They really tried everything, but
All right, Kukulski, I don't want to sound insensitive
okay.
here.
But
Okay,
he passed away.
I'd,
Okay, yeah, okay,
I'd
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
exactly. Okay, go on.
And
He's gonna make
then I
me
had to.
cry.
I Then I had to deal with everything. Just saying on the radio that he passed away. I'm gonna be honest. I was really offended at that time because no one believed me, and they thought that I'm like fooling around. I'm making a joke. Anyway, they took his remains. n- as you know, with Doctor Payne, his wacky will was taken. I had to contact everyone and call them and tell them. I had to what about his passing. Um, I took it all his remains. And here's the thing: his gun, as far as I remember, because genuinely there was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of people, and interrupting me with this whole process. The gun, as far as I remember, was also supposed to go to Alan Key, but also due to the incident prior, I had like a hunt Arjun with this gun that he almost killed him during that day because Jimbo beforehand, before the whole situation of New Babylon, shot Arjun when he was a hostage.
Mm-hmm. But when you say it had to be used to hunt, like what?
As
What do you
a
mean?
hand, as a, this is like the like I guess what I did that to Arjun. I brandished not pointing at him, just like I said to Arjun, like look at this gun. You know what it is? This gun almost killed you. He's gonna hunt you even after the death. So yeah, I had it in my lock storage in my car. I took it out on like 2 or 3 times. Didn't discharge it, as far as I recall. There was a situation on the MRPD when I had it out. And prison.
Okay, so
Where I
before we
shot
get to
it.
the prison point, I'm just going to briefly interrupt and ask a question. Up until this point, had you brought this up to any members of command or high command? And if so, what did you ask? And what was the answers?
At the hospital where Jimbo remains was still there for the visitation. Sergeant Bobby Charles was present, and I informed him about him, about this gun situation in Jimbo's will. To which he replied, approved, and then he wanted me to stay in the visitation so he could apply dabs to Jimbo. Then the next day, I told Captain Jack.
Well, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
The approved bit. What specifically did you ask Bobby?
Is it fine if I have this weapon on me?
Oh, you know what you're doing when you ask Bobby Charles. He's a goddamn moron. You know what you're doing when you ask Bobby.
Ooh.
No,
Everybody in this room knows what an idiot Bobby Charles is.
It was just the only present command member.
You did it because you thought you could get what you wanted from him. You know how dumb he is too. Admit it. Admit you know how dumb Bobby Charles is. Don't lie.
He's a goddamn moron.
Oh
I'm
my
very
god.
Whoa,
Whoa, hey, hey.
Oh my god, that's your sergeant.
Well, that's gonna be another dap when Bobby hears about this.
When Bobby hears about that, that's gonna be trouble.
What? So, again, just running this back a bit. You specifically asked, "Is it fine if I have this weapon on me?"
Something to that extent. I can't recall exactly word to word what I said, but I mentioned the weapon, I mentioned the will, and is it something? Is it okay? Is it fine? Something.
Okay.
Those
If it was worded that way, I mean, obviously you don't know word for word, but you would have a general idea as to whether or not you were asking if you could actively use this, or if you were essentially allowed to hold on to this as like, something to remember Jimbo by. Do you know which one you would have been asking for in the moment?
Not really, but honestly, the way I acted, it basically, I guess the first one. Yeah.
To like hold on to and utilize?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't remember. I don't remember like what exactly like I was thinking at that time, because again, it was other things that have to be done. People contacted. Because there was a lot of people visiting, so I don't really remember fully
Got it.
what my thought process was or like intent at the time. So I probably
It's your best. It's your best assumption.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna like basically, not gonna like pretend, to save my case.
Okay.
It is what it is.
Was there anyone else contacted between this time and the prison situation?
Regarding what?
Speaking with anyone regarding any kind of approval, or was it just Bobby?
Was also Captain Jeb. On the very next day, we had a situation at the prison with New Babylon as well. And we were together in the L1 when I mentioned the situation. And from what I recall, it was Captain said to just hold on to it. I don't remember Captain Jeb didn't say it's fine for me to use it, anything to that extent. Just basically, yeah, fine. You can just keep it, something like that. But
Okay.
there was no
when that
indication that's okay.
When I just I don't want to stray too far. When that approval, we'll word it as, was given to you, did you perceive that as you're just holding on to the gun at this point, as again something to remember Jimbo by, or did you perceive that as I can actively use this in situations moving forward?
It was more of a I can keep it, but to use no.
Okay, you can continue on.
Then yeah, going back to the situation on the MRPD, it was 78. Someone, I think, from the cells was running around, and someone was attacked with a pistol. I don't remember. Someone was held hostage by the armory. I had it out. Meef told me to not have it, and then a couple of days later, there was the prison breakout with the Bobcat, and I don't know why I had it out of my Luxor, because I usually have my NP5. I don't know why I held. So I had my vest with the max for the heavy rifle, and as well as the heavy rifle. And as it was 78 was happening, because also prior we had the power station situation. Beforehand, I responded quickly from the not from the power station to the prison. I had it out, and I was shooting as I was shot at. So
Got it. Okay. And you don't remember why you had it out of your lockbox or locker, correct?
correct. It's honestly probably something stupid, for a stupid reason.
Okay. All right. So prior to this happening, I apologize. I do want to rewind back to the Jimbo situation. So you were obviously part of, Jimbo had died. You had documented possessions. Can you run us through the evidence that you had documented, and whether or not stuff ended up in the locker or not?
Yes, I placed the heavy rifle into the locker. I don't remember. I think I did. We will have to check it right now, as chief, because I think I've put information in with that gun, who it belonged to fully, and then I took it out so I could attach it to the report as it was part of it. Because I also took the picture of his possession and whatnot. So
Got it. All right.
So it's fully said that this weapon did belong him. It was found on him, so it was in the evidence.
Give me 1 second. So specifically of note, right? Because you wrote the report regarding Jimbo's homicide, right? You documented his possessions, but of note, there is nothing for duty gear or equipment that mentions a heavy rifle. You know why that is?
No. I don't recall.
I want to add this, Kukulski. You've listed out almost everything, all his police equipment in
Mhm.
here. You even added his key ring.
Hmm.
How could you miss the class 2 in here?
I don't know.
You could
He
be
knows.
honest. Be honest. Do you think?
Mhm.
Do you think it was? Did you think you were gonna get approval to have possession of Jimbo's class 2? At that time, did you think you'd get approval?
Um, at the time when I was listing the things, I already asked Bobby about it because I was still at the hospital, and then I returned to the station and listed everything.
So you were thinking about the class 2, but when you were listing out all the items, you forgot to list it in there, even though you were thinking about it.
As bad as it sounds, yeah.
Dumbass. Dumbass.
I'm sorry I disappointed you, Chief.
Um. Okay, so just to verify, the heavy rifle, in addition to all of the other equipment, goes into the locker.
You lift your head while your ass chief's talking to you.
Yes, yes.
You
yes.
look him in the eyes.
So you put all this stuff into the evidence locker. How quickly after putting it into the evidence locker did you take it?
2-3 minutes. As a thing, I was putting the. I don't know if she's okay. Edit, like putting more information into the weapon title. I think I did that. I don't remember. I think I did, and then I took it out.
So was it only put in there just for the sake of like the local evidence workers documenting the firearm?
Yes, and
Okay.
then attaching it to the report.
Okay, and what other questions do I have? Did you end up purchasing magazines for this heavy rifle, separate to this? And if you did, when were those purchased?
Don't remember if I did. It was on the very same day.
Okay. All right.
I don't recall that.
Can you answer that again? Because I just want to be clear here.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen what Jimbo was found with. We've seen what was documented.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't take anything off him. So where did you get the mags from when you fired it?
I believe I purchased them at the armory from the quartermaster.
And you said it. You don't recall exactly, but if you had to assume, it would have been the same day.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I want to say that. Oh, actually, one more question.
Mm-hmm.
Were you under the assumption at any point in time that you were authorized to utilize a heavy rifle throughout any of this?
Yes. Stemming from my question to Bobby, if it's fine for me to have it and use it. As I recall at the time. So that
hold
was
on,
my
hold on.
impression.
This
Okay.
so just to verify here, to have it and use it is how you just worded it.
Yes, because I. That's how I thought at the time when I used it. It was like it's
Got
fine.
it. Got it. Okay. I just want to verify because you were pretty adamant here, and then before it was like you don't remember exactly, but I did clarify earlier, and you did sort of say it was implied it was to hold and use. Okay. If we're running under that assumption that Bobby Charles did approve this, why then get reapproval from the captain afterwards?
Because once again, as I stated, Bobby is stupid. I thought it
Valid.
didn't fly, so I was with Jeb was as a captain, so I told him as well.
So Bobby was your scapegoat?
I was thinking that he'll be a weak excuse.
Hmm. Bearing
And-
that in mind, okay, you're willing to do that. But you expect us to believe that you forgot to list out the class 2 in the report? Kukulski, I'm a fucker like you. I know how you think.
But here's the thing: if I still put the gun into the register, I could take it out from the evidence as not listed it on the local evidence on the right hand side, but I submitted it
Mm-hmm.
there, so it's not missing anywhere. And I just don't remember why I didn't do it. I don't know why. I thought I did, but I didn't. I
Think
remember
you
to
do
do
a
that
lot,
with the.
don't you? But then you don't do it.
Okay,
it's-
one
it's-
last thing to at least from me. So my question previously was, were you under the
Mhm.
assumption that you're authorized to use it, right? But would the timing be correct that you had re-asked Jeb, to which you then clarified your understanding was you can keep it, but to use, no. Is that a fair assumption here? Like, again, my question being, were you
yes.
under the assumption that you're authorized to use the heavy rifle? You said yes,
Yes.
based on Bobby's approval.
Mhm.
But obviously that would have been sort of shot down based on what Jeb had mentioned, and you perceiving it as I can keep it, but to use, no, I think is almost a word-for-word quote. So at this time, when it was used in this prison situation, was that after speaking with Jeb?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to ask the question again. Now that we're on the same page, were you under the assumption that you were authorized to use a heavy rifle?
Yes.
How? If you had gotten further clarification from Jeb, unless your intent was to not bring up that you had asked Jeb at all and defaulted to Bobby, because in the Bobby situation, it was seemingly vague, where you clarified your perception was to hold it and use it. But then when asked about Jeb's, you made it very clear that it was perceived as I can keep it but not use it. But then you used it in the prison situation after speaking with Jeb.
Yes. What we have to keep in mind, as Chief, that it was several days after. When did the Jimbo pass away? When was it exactly?
October 28th.
28th. And the prison situation was like two weeks after, right?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah. So I informed Jeb the day after the Jeb passed away, and what I think basically that's why the way I acted is the first situation with Bobby solidify in my head as I can.
Well, if it was
And-
solidified, then you wouldn't have asked someone else. Right? I mean, is that wrong of me
yes.
to assume?
You see, the conversation with Captain Jeb was in A1. It was just brief before the whole prison situation, and it was just very in a very short space of time. Like very
I mean,
narrow.
even if brief, right? Your answer to the question after speaking with the captain was your perception was you can keep it, but to use, no. And then, despite that, it was still utilized after that. I don't, like, I'm trying to understand where, like, when I ask you, were you under the assumption that, let me rephrase this so that there's no confusion, because I do think there's a scenario in which
there is no confusion for me.
were you
It's
under the
genuinely
assumption after speaking with Jeb at any point in time after, it doesn't matter if it was 3 seconds later
Mhm.
or 2 weeks later, were you under the assumption after speaking with Jeb that you're authorized to use a heavy rifle?
Yes.
And to further clarify, based on Bobby's prior directive or approval? Okay.
I have a question on this topic then. How come a few days later when a sergeant told you not to use it, you put it away and still pulled it back out?
I told her because I put it away. I told her and just I was like, okay, I'm gonna make fuss about it. Just gonna put it away. So there is no complaints.
But you still pulled it back out.
Yes.
Got it.
Even though you was told not to use it.
Kind of funny how I ended up asking all the questions of like just things that came to
Well-
mind.
That was at the LSPD, and she's from BCS. So, but yes, I did.
Okay, Kukulski, I have something for you. This is
Mhm.
so from what I remember the conversation, I told you could have it for sentimental value. Don't use it.
Mhm.
I just want to know if you thought you were under the impression that you could use it, why were you not using it and instead using your MP5 for most situations between then and the prison incident where you used it?
Why was okay? Because
I'm just,
That
if you
requires a
thought you
mag
could use the
swap.
heavy rifle, why were you not using it and instead using your MP5?
because I was rather not run into the trouble with the gun, but I just at that time, with the when the prison stuff happened, I had it on me. Why I don't recall. For what reason I don't remember. I had it. How I use it.
So you're basically, are you saying you kind of knew that you probably shouldn't use the
He'd
heavy
be
rifle because it
in
was
less
causing
trouble
shit, so you
if he
didn't use
openly
it.
said
Yeah.
Okay.
he was trying to get like a one up
I
by
just
deferring
'cause
back to
look,
Bobby
Kukulski,
because it
Carmine
fit
already said it. He's a fucker.
more of
I'm
what
a
he wanted.
fucker. Kukulski, I think you knew you probably shouldn't be using that gun.
You know. I agree. I am ready to be terminated. Honestly, I fucked up, and I apologize for it. I let everyone down, and it caused troubles because of it. I do understand. I'm sorry, and it's yeah. I'm ready to face the consequences for it. I don't want to. I like this job very much, but let's go on.
All
Well,
right.
saying stuff like "I'm ready to get fired" and essentially standing here trying to. Well, I'll be honest. I thought you were gonna have some good explanations for this, but at the moment you're just kind of digging your own fucking grave, Kukulski. I don't understand. This is a discussion to talk about keeping your job, not necessarily firing you.
I mean, in saying that, we do, expect honest answers, even if the honest answer does make you look like a fuck up. But that's an easier pill to swallow than someone like justifying bad behavior. You know what I mean? Like it's different if you were if you were sitting there saying straight up like I wanted to use the heavy rifle out of sentimental value or whatever. And I had the approval and I shot myself in the foot asking someone else who told me no. And I, shouldn't have done it, but I sort of pretended that I didn't get that and resorted back to what Bobby said. In a roundabout way, you kind of said it, but like, that was then kind of like disproved by like you being under the assumption that you're authorized to use the heavy despite a few things going against you there, that being your NP5 usage from when you had gotten it after Jeb's approval, to also putting it away after a brief conversation with Maeve, there's a lot that pretty much told you throughout all of this that you should not be utilizing it. And you still did, which is obviously problematic. I will say I don't necessarily have any additional questions. I don't know if anyone else does regarding the situation. But if no one else does have questions, I think we'll sort of just take, any sort of, I'm not going to say last words, but essentially the equivalent of like a closing statement in court, but obviously, to us.
I have a question before he does that. Kukulski,
Mm-hmm.
there's two things are going to happen today. There's one of two things. We're going to fire you or we're going to keep you. What are you going to do if we fire you, and what are we going to do if we keep you? Fire first. Go.
All right. If you're gonna fire me, I would want to prove to you that I can change and be reasonable again.
The fuck you laughing?
I knew that was going to get King.
Apologies. The second,
How are you going to do that, though?
well, I could be a dispatch. I could be a PD tow. Just proving myself that, I am worth reconsideration again.
Okay, I
Being
like
the
that.
CI on the street. Tarek already approached me to be his hobo.
And if we keep you as an officer, what are you going to do?
I can write for someone reports. I will change my behavior. That's like basically being a fuck up, fucking around. That will
Look at
stop.
Voss. He was a fuck up and a fucking idiot.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of value in individuals who fuck up, take whatever consequence on the chin, and moving on. When I say moving on, I don't mean like, no longer doing PD stuff necessarily, but just learning from it, right? Like that's the most important aspect. At least for me, because it's far different when you tell someone exactly where they fucked up, and they sit there and pretend to know, and then do nothing about it during whatever consequence they have. But the people who actually listen, and take whatever advice is given to them, and improve upon the things that they fucked up before, are ultimately the people who typically either get their job back, or individuals who maybe lost a position or got demoted, and work up again towards doing whatever it was they were doing before, but obviously without fucking up. Long story short, again, I don't necessarily know how this is going to go, but we're obviously going to need some time to discuss. Unless someone has any additional questions, we'll let you give your sort of closing, if you will, as well.
I have a clarifying question from the start.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about brandishing a gun to Arjun. Can you just repeat that again, just so I can?
Before the meeting, one of the meeting when Arjun was back, I
Had
pulled
to
out
be
the
used
weapon.
to. I think I understood it as hunt, but I think it's haunt.
Told him that, look, this is the gun that almost killed you, something like that, and Jim wanted you to remind you that, so something like that.
Okay, so I did hear correctly. How
Y-
come
it
you
was
never
branded as a
relate
pull
that
out.
to? How can you never relate that to myself, Maxwell, and King when we spoke to you, and you said, "quote unquote," that Jimbo's final wish was for you to give the gun to Arjun.
No, I said to hunt him, I believe at the time.
Just to clarify here, are you saying hunt or haunt?
HU10 as a like hunt.
Okay,
as a,
hunt.
What I understood, like, to scare him.
Got it. Okay. Because my concern is that's one letter off, but those kind of mean two very different things. Like, at least to me, one is very much so like this is going to be used to kill you, and the other one is like you see it, you know, being displayed during his funeral, and it's going to be a reminder that this shot you in the you know what I mean? Like those are two very different things.
So something like I'm sorry, but not that stupid.
I mean, King and Maxwell are here, and they were both in the meeting as well. And I'm pretty sure, from my POV, you definitely didn't say anything about brandishing a gun to Arjun.
No.
Is there a reason as to why that would have been omitted in the original conversation regarding it?
Don't remember. You can ask Arjun if that happened.
I mean, I trust that it happened. I don't think
It did
anyone's
happen,
denying
yeah.
that, but I think it's more of a concern that it wasn't
don't
brought up
remember.
in the prior. I mean, if you say you don't remember, it not being brought up then but being brought up now is a little concerning. Does anyone else have questions?
No.
No,
All right.
sir.
Kukulski and
hold on. I think I might have a question.
Well, do you actually have a because he's
Yes,
gonna have
I have a
his
question.
okay.
Who else was there when Jimbo said he wanted you to have the gun?
Dr. Payne. I was alone. The doctors were outside. Also, Kingsley, I think, was in the hallway as well.
So Kingsley heard Jimbo say, Kukulski, I want you to have my gun and show it to Arjun. Something like that.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to validate this, I talk to Kingsley and Dr. Payne.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
I think it was Kingsley.
And if they don't know, I guess the truth is, depending on what you said or what a dead man said to you. So I guess you're the only one that would know if that's true, right?
That would be correct, Captain.
Okay, that's all.
All right. Any additional questions from anyone? All right.
I have one.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you think Arjun would pull a gun and show you the gun that he got from a dead guy?
Based the way him and Spectre were talking to each other, yes.
Oh.
Okay, that's all.
Okay. So Kukulski, again, you could sort of format this as like, you know, your sort of final argument regarding everything. Not argument, not to like disprove anything, but like, you know, what final words do you have prior to us discussing everything at length?
I apologize for everyone for letting you down, for causing this trouble. I did learn from it. I wasn't acting out of malicious. Again, it was negligence. As I stated before, I was using NP5 because I thought it's probably not the best idea to use Jimbo's gun. Yet I did. It was stupid of me. I know it was just something I should have done, but yet I did it. I'm not gonna hide that fact. I'm sorry, and I will change for the better because I learned from it. That's what I should have done.
All right. If you wouldn't mind, just step out into the lobby so we can
like the other
discuss.
room, because I know you can kind of hear out the door. Thank you.
I agree. Arjun would do that shit.
I know. That's why I
agree,
asked.
Arjun.
Yeah.
Arjun would do that.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure he pistol
absolutely.
whipped a taxi driver on the way to work once. It was a whole thing.
Well, what's everyone's stance? I'm I'm of firm belief that this, in my opinion, is one of two situations. This is either a lengthy suspension or straight out firing. I don't see anything. I don't see anything less than a lengthy suspension. Again, if not fired. That is my stance on the situation. I know. I will say this, and this isn't in defense of Kukulski. I do know that a lot of times, I mean, much like we can sit here and say that Arjun would also do something stupid or like has pistol whipped a taxi driver. There's a level of, I'm not going to say unseriousness, but you know, like there are like inside jokes for people, right? That aren't
Yeah.
exactly the most formal or ideal. And some people perceive that as like now everything is not serious. And I think to some degree, Kukulski suffers from that and like looking at situations and sort of acknowledging like, it's not that serious. I'll fuck around. But there's a line to be drawn, certainly, especially in the event where there's a murder, right? Like, straight up, I don't think I would have said, maybe at most I would have said, Kukulski, you're going to have to wait 30 days to make sure there's no legal issues with taking this firearm. But like after the 30 days, if that was his wish and you want to have it in your locker, somewhere still within Mission Row, but not vehicle, because that's just setting yourself up for fucking failure. Because why do you need it with you at all times? You're going to reach for a gun and that's going to be the only thing available. And now you're using a dead man's gun that you're not even authorized to use. One of my big points of contention is that he simultaneously said he perceived what Jeb said as I can have it essentially, but not use it, or I can keep it but not use it, while simultaneously saying I was under the assumption I was authorized to use a heavy rifle. And the reason I further clarified was because I didn't want him to misunderstand that as at any point in time did you perceive that you're authorized to use it. So I reworded it specifically to mention, after your conversation with Jeb, do you still believe you were you had authorization to use? And he still said yes. And I don't understand how that can be the case. If day one he asks Bobby, who's a fuck up, Bobby says, yeah, whatever. Then he asks Jeb, number one, if he's a real fucker, he's not ever going to ask Jeb. He's going to continue on with Bobby's approval. I don't know how he fucked that up. But to simultaneously say that, like, I don't know. Like, I question his decision making. I think we all know the intent, right? The intent was to use that heavy rifle. In like a roundabout way. And maybe he was trying to do it to where it was relatively low key and then everything blew up in his face when the prison shit went off. But again, my stance is firm. At bare minimum, I wouldn't want to see anything lower than a 14-day suspension if we don't fire him. That is the ground for me, is a 14-day suspension, and I'm not opposed to firing. So where does everyone else stand regarding this?
Well, what we have to do first is we have to point out the facts. You see, I know how these people think. You could say that Kyle Pred was the most corrupt cop ever. To get away with it. I don't think anybody has as much knowledge or understanding as me when it comes to the mind. You see, I understand everything. I see the world through a different glass than everyone else when it comes to these situations. What I have witnessed, he knew what he was doing. He just did not care. It wasn't a problem until it was a problem. It was short-sighted thinking. There was no plan. There was just base instincts, like when a monkey's in a cage and you put a banana in there. The monkey will take the banana.
Yes, it
The
will.
monkey will eat the banana.
Yes, it will.
But does that not mean he cannot be redeemed? On the other hand, did he do something so wrong that it gravitates towards the most extreme? Or are we are we going to be perceived by our people as weak if we do not execute this fool. For that is simply what he is. He is a fool. A fool.
Well, yes, I'm not denying that, but I will say I really don't give a fuck if other people are going to perceive us as weak, right? Because I'm also a firm
That
belief
would
that
be their mistake.
I'm a firm